This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the new and improved Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. After many years of interviewing the best and brightest thought leaders around the world on my SiriusXM show, I am excited to now have those interviews available to people around the globe on this podcast. So many people would write us and say, I love what I've been hearing about your interviews with these great people. Where can I access them? I live in this country or that country, or I don't have access to that technology. How can I get the information? Well, I'm so excited now that we are able to offer the information and the interviews free on this podcast. So we want you to sit back and enjoy this message and let me know how you like them. And then do me a favor. If you like them, send a review, write a review and post it. And if you like it, hit like on here and share it and tell everybody you know about it, and then subscribe to this podcast so you'll get the alerts when we post a new interview episode. Thank you for listening and enjoy the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Well, it's another great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and yes, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds, and it forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, did not choose it, but it's up to me to use it. We must suffer if we lose it, give account if we abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. Well, I want to ask you a question, folks. How do you start at zero and then build a billion-dollar business and do it without starting out with bank loans and with any kind of financing or investors, but by bootstrapping? How do you do it? And do it with a series of wise choices that anyone can make. You just got to know how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it today with my special guest, Stephen Hightower. He is the owner of the biggest and first African-American petroleum company in America and a best-selling author. You're going to love this interview. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Wherever you may be around the country, around the world, whether you're listening on the show, on radio, or on the podcast, we are so grateful for you for making this the number 1 self-help show in the country now, and one of the top 5 downloaded global podcasts in the world. So it's up to you. You did it. You made it happen, folks. I didn't. You did. So I want to thank you. And then, I take a moment every show, the start of every show, give God glory. That's God's Minute that I start with, which Dr. Benjamin Mays taught Martin Luther King. But we're going to talk about God, and we're thankful for God, because God has blessed us, and we are grateful. And so I am going to take a moment every show and tell you how I am grateful, and I am thankful, and I give God glory, because God's gift to us is life. And our gift to God is what we do with our lives. So let's do something extraordinary. Then I want to thank our sponsor, Truist Bank. two great banks, BB&T and SunTrust, they decided to stop being independent and come together. And they built a new bank called Truist. And they built it on a foundation of care, caring for others. And when you start with care, you build a different kind of bank, Truist. Well, my guest today is quite a guy, quite a gentleman. He is from Middletown, Ohio. And now many of y'all might not have heard of Middletown, Ohio, but he's like the biggest celebrity in Middletown, Ohio, because he has done so much. He's the president and CEO of Hightower Petroleum, had performed more than $1.7 billion over the last 5 years, providing energy solutions. A self-made entrepreneur since 1979, he grew his Ohio nationwide-based wholesale fuel distribution company into an international global energy solution enterprise covering the entire value chain from petroleum to energy to blue chip customers like Duke Energy, General Motors, the Kroger Company, FedEx, Ford Motors, UPS, Honda, and it goes on and on and on. He has done it, though. How he did it is so incredible because he started by selling janitorial services and helping his father and their janitorial company. He started in his teens selling and growing his wealth. And today we're going to talk about how he did it. My special guest is Stephen Hightower. Brother Hightower, it's so good to have you.
Good. Thank you. Glad to have the opportunity to be here with such a giant in the community and in the world.
Well, thank you, my brother. Well, look, let's start right from the beginning. Your parents were such a great role model. This book, you detail your parent and your father. In the writing of the book, he was in his 90s, and you were making sure to have time with him. But your father came from Mississippi. I believe that both of them came from Mississippi and the Great Migration and came to Ohio. And they didn't let no grass grow under their feet. Your father started a janitorial service, and your mother was a domestic. Is that correct?
That is correct. When they first got here.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And so go ahead. Tell more about the story. Yeah, go ahead.
But in addition to that, my father was on his way to Detroit, and where my grandfather was going to give him a job at Chrysler. But he dropped my aunt off along the way, coming up I-75. And that's when on a Sunday he arrived. And the next day, my uncle, who was my aunt's husband, took him to Armco Steel, and he got a job the next day, so he never left Middletown.
Wow.
So that's how he ended up in Middletown.
And he got the job at the company in Middletown, but he needed more money, so he became an entrepreneur on the side. Was he on the side doing that?
Yeah, of course. He was a hustler at a young age coming into Middletown, but something about him that was also very unique. And when I think about his lack of formal education. Basically, my mother said he probably had a 6th grade education, but you would never know that the way he was able to manage and maneuver throughout corporate America in this community, and nobody would ever know whether he could read or not read. Okay. Wow. My mother was the one who did all the books on the back end, and he did all the sales and all the PR and growing the janitorial business. To the point where at the end, when I actually bought the janitorial business from him, we had about 175 employees, and we was the biggest janitorial business in Middletown and was rivaling Dayton and Cincinnati at the same time.
Wow. So let's make sure people understood it. His father did not have an extensive education, but he was willing to hustle. And his mother, she was employed during the day cleaning people's homes, but in the nighttime, she helped her husband. She stood with him. They worked together. They built a business. And then you came in as a teenager, didn't you?
Yeah. But along the way, my mother also got her GED while she was here in Middletown, and then went on to business college here in Middletown and became the first secretary at Avon, as well as later Armco International. She was the only first Black female to ever work in Armco International as well. So she didn't just stop at being a domestic. She went on and educated herself as well, and became a very good number 2 person in the Hightowers janitorial service.
Wow. Now that I'm glad you put that in, because we got lots of people who don't realize that where you are now does not have to be where you continue to go. And you talk about that throughout the book. Well, he has a new book. Brother Hightower has a new book called Fueling from 0 to 1 billion. It is awesome. I'm just telling you, folks, this is an awesome book, and we're going to tell you where you can get it shortly. Now, you started as a teenager working in the janitorial service, didn't you?
Actually, I started when I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, my God.
If my mother and father would be working in offices, they took their kids with them, and we was cleaning baseboards and chair legs and things of that nature. So we worked even as a very, very young kid when they were working cleaning offices.
So is that where you got your hustle? I mean, because, this book talks about hustle. It just talks about hustle, not letting stuff stop you, not letting people talk you out. You just hustle. Is that where you learned how to hustle?
It is my father and my mother's ingenuity, but my father's hustle. Okay. He worked at Armco around the clock. That's the 8 to 5, 5 to 11, 11 to 7. Okay. So he continuously worked shift work at Armco Steel. But then when he was off, he worked his own business. So he did 18 to 20, sometimes 24 hours nonstop out of his own business. And that's what we as a community need to be able to see, that type of work ethic.
Yes.
And when you see, when you can see it, and then you can be it.
Yes.
Right. But if you never see that, and what you see every day is somebody, and it's unfortunate that we have in our communities where some adults don't really ever become adults, and they sitting on the street, they still, slinging and doing the things that not necessarily constructive.
Right.
But if that's what you see and that's what you know, that's what you want to be. And I was very fortunate to have parents that wanted something and that did a lot of things that allowed me to follow and want that as well. And I do say that even examples like yourself and myself is needed for our community to know what's possible. And if we can't see what's possible, we don't know what's, and we become the possibilities for our own community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, from the rest of the story, you went on to grow up, as you said, starting as a child. And then when you became a teenager, you started selling. I mean, you started selling.
Well, I was literally cleaning floors and shampooing carpets at 12, 13, 14 years old, as a sub underneath the crews. But by the time I was 16 and could actually drive, I became a crew leader.
Wow.
But by the time I was 18, I had the opportunity to actually start negotiating my first commercial contract with a company here in Monroe. And so having a business where in the living room, or actually the dining room table on a Saturday, the accountant would come in and do the books and write the checks. Employees would come into the house and, get their orders and go out every day. Business was a part of what I just grew up into. And even as a child, I wanted to be the boss. So when I was 18 and 19, even though I had an older brother, which was 5 years older than I was, I always wanted to be the boss. And wanting to be the boss means that you got to have some type of influence or some type of vision of what a boss might be. And that just happened to be my father.
Wow.
And so that's really where my whole skill set actually got started, in my business since nurtured in the janitorial business. But as I say, even in my book, business is business. The business is the same.
Yes.
Business is not white or black. Business is business.
Yes.
And it's like any other game that you learn to play, and you become not just good at it, you become great at it the more you practice and the more you want to be great. And that's how I took on running that business from the janitorial service, ended up buying that company from my father at one point in time in 1981, sold it in 1983, and then continued to grow my businesses from there. So I've been an entrepreneur really since I've been a child. Never went to work for anybody.
Wow. Entrepreneur from childhood, and has built a $1 billion enterprise because of pure hustle that he learned from his dad. And I want to say to everybody, you might not have a mentor like he had. You might not have a role model, but that is why we put these folks on this show for you. So you can see real life examples of people who decided they were going to take their gifts and then expand them, multiply them, grow them, and become all that is possible within them. And so you're going to have to hear the rest of this story. His story is a story of ingenuity, creativity, being dogged, looking for opportunities, never taking no for an answer, never accepting what other people say. But you say at one point that when you started the petroleum company, they just called him, oh, he's the janitor guy. But they didn't know what they were in store for. They didn't know what was coming. There's a dog in there. You know, I like the old saying, it doesn't matter how big the dog is in the fight. It matters only how much fight there is in the dog. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. And for sure, the best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Friendship is not about being convenient. It's about being committed and consistent. You can call on me when you need me. You can call on me. Call me. You can call on me. Pick up the phone. You can call and call me.
Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and support for the Dr. Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show comes from Truist Bank. When you start with care, you get a different kind of bank. Home ownership is a blessing. That's right, it's a blessing. And the ability to build equity, value in a home that you own can be the foundation of creating wealth. Wealth that can be passed on for generations. Truist believes that a path to home ownership exists for you. I hear people say, well, I don't see how I could ever own a home. Well, Truist can help you buy a home with a low down payment. Connect with a Truist teammate to learn about the options available to you. Reach them by calling 855-257-4040, 855-257-4040. They really care. You can also visit truist.com/homebuyer, truist.com/homebuyer to calculate your mortgage payment. That's truist.com/homebuyer. Truist Bank is an equal housing lender. Remember, visit truist.com/homebuyer or call 855-257-4040. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show and podcast. Wherever you may be in the world, I'm glad you're listening. Whether you're in America or one of our global friends, we are grateful. Whether you're listening on the radio or on the podcast, we are grateful. And I ask you to continue to do what you do. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, everybody you know, hey, you should be listening to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show because he brings the best and the brightest guests all over the world to be his guest every week. So we're glad you're listening. And do me a favor, if you're in another country, send me an email. info@williejolly.com. If you are in a country outside of America and you're listening, send me an email, info@williejolly.com. I want to make sure we applaud you and celebrate you. And I'll send you a digital gift that we'll send by email. And then I want everybody to go to winwithwillie.com. Winwithwillie.com. That's my website, a suite of sites where you get my business site, my personal motivation site, my youth motivation site, our marriage site to help you with your marriage, our motivational music, how to become a speaker. We got all sorts, how to set goals. We got all of these things on one site, winwithwillie.com, and you can get some free goodies there as well. Well, my special guest today is Stephen Hightower. He's the CEO. Let me read a little about him. He said, I tell my story of entering the petroleum industry as a young African-American in a market with a very high barrier to entry and a reliance on competitors in the industry at various times. This industry, traditionally made up of family-owned companies, grew significantly from expanding and becoming limited partnerships or through aggressive entrepreneurial ventures. And a limited number of Black-owned family businesses served and distributed home heating oil in local communities back in the 50s. But to become a national petroleum company, that was unheard of. They could deliver it, but they could not be the one who was dealing it. And he has done that, the first African American and the largest Black-owned petroleum company in history is my guest, Stephen Hightower. He's the author of a new book called Tenacity, Heart, Success, Fueling from Zero to $1 billion. Okay, let's keep this story going because this is such. Let me tell you, by the way, Brother Hightower, this book, I got it earmarked. I got so many places I have turned down the page. Oh, let me start right at the beginning. I made a note. Even in there was so much rich content in here that even in the dedication, he dedicated to his parents. Even in the dedication, though, I love something he wrote. He said after he dedicated to his mom and dad, he wrote under that, to know that failure is not failure, but a learning experience. And the ability to stay in the game is how you win. Attitude is more important than skill. And God is the father of time. Concentrate on what you can change and let God do the rest. Whew. Right from the beginning. That's like the first page. And he's throwing it out from there. He's telling you how to build business, how to grow yourself, and how to do so if you don't have investors. You don't have bank loans. You can't get it. How do you do it? And that's what he talks about. Well, let's talk about how you did it, Brother Hightower. You had the janitorial company, and you built it, and you built it. Your parents and you built it, and then you bought it from them, and then you decided to sell it, and you said, okay, where am I going next? Talk about the next steps.
Well, what during that period of time in 1979, there was a set-aside program in the state of Ohio. The set-aside program was just an affirmative action program that basically was trying to reconstruct the disparity of African Americans and other minorities having opportunities in the state of Ohio, whereas their purchases was less than a 0.00025 in terms of minority companies getting billions of dollars that the state was spending. So there was a group of African American legislators, C.J. McLean, Senator Bowen, and those types of individuals that actually put House Bill 584 in place, which allowed them to set aside different commodities. And when I say different commodities, that the state buys everything. They buy lumber, they buy drywood, drywall, they buy posts for guardrail. All of those things, they buy furniture, they buy food. I would take a couple people in our back office, and everything that they would set aside for minority bidding only, we would look it up and we would bid it. And so that meant that only certified minority companies could bid on those items. Well, one day they set aside fuel, and Al Washington, who was the godfather, who was the coordinator, EEO coordinator, actually said, Steve, we're going to set aside fuel. Do you know anybody? Would you be interested? And I said, absolutely. And so BP had the contract for 32 years. And they just folded their arms and like they weren't going to bid no minority. This is our game.
Right.
Ain't nobody can step up to this. But there's always a number two, somebody that's looking to be in the game. And that number two happened to be a non-minority company that wanted the state of Ohio, but couldn't get it because they couldn't beat BP. Well, my first contract was the entire state of Ohio. I found that number two guy. He quoted me the bid, and I won my first contract in 1981 with the state of Ohio as far as my first fuel contract. That's how I got in the game. That particular guy, though, he was smart enough to not allow me to have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars So he the one introduced me to the lockbox. And he introduced me to the lockbox before his own personal, gain, because that was a way that he could be assured that the state of Ohio, writing their checks to Hightowers Petroleum Company, would send it to a post office box at our commercial bank, okay? And the bank would then send him the money that was designated for him to receive, and then I would get my money.
Wow.
So that became a credit instrument that allowed the bank not to take any risk of transferring my money to my supplier because they didn't have to come up with the money and they had no risk. And for me, that gave my supplier the confidence that he could get paid. So he had no problem giving me millions of dollars worth of credit because he knew that there was a credit instrument that allowed him to get paid. Nobody other than the state of Ohio had the financial risk.
Wow.
They were the ones sending the money. Okay.
I had never ever heard of a lockbox concept, and it was so brilliant and it was so unique. I said, man, I got to make a note of that and tell people about that's an option when you can't get credit or you're unable to get investors, but yet you want to make sure you get funding and you want to get money in. So you partner. He was one of the things in his book is that Brother Hightower talks about strategic alliances. And I want you to just talk a little bit about how important it is to create strategic alliances, because you talk about networking. One of the things, let me tell you, I met Brother Hightower years ago at the Congressional Black Caucus. He came every year, and I'd see him every year, and he was out and greeting people, meeting people. We met. He gave me his card, and I said, Hightower Petroleum, this guy. And then I saw he had a book. I saw it on LinkedIn. I said, oh, I remember Brother Hightower. He was always at the CBC. I got to give him a call. I want to help him sell this book. And that's how this happened. But it was all about networking, about relationship, and then strategic alliances. All of that plays in, doesn't it, Brother Hightower? Talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, let me talk about the fact that in order to get to those strategic alliances, a little bit more about the lockbox, because I had to get up. They were still looking at me. The banks was looking at me. The industry was looking at me as just another brother trying to do something that wasn't going to make it.
Right.
I had to get up to $235 million in sales before I got my first bank loan. Wow. So can you imagine? I'm playing right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, but I started playing different suppliers with that lockbox until I got up to $235 million worth of sales. And nobody, right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. They didn't know I was growing that big. Okay. But then when I finally didn't need the money anymore is when a company came outside of our area, not Dayton or Cincinnati, but came out of Columbus and gave me my first ABL loan, okay, wow, which is an asset-based lending loan from a bank. So I built from zero all the way up to there without nobody lending me one dime or me taking on any capital from anybody.
And one more thing I thought was so creative, and you got to have trucks to be able to take this petroleum. Now you're starting off at zero. Okay. You got zero.
So you have to learn it. You got to know what supply chain is. Okay?
There you go.
And learn that you can manage a supply chain. All right. You don't have to have 500 people in a truck all over this country when you can have 10 and 20 different companies that's got 100 people each, and let those, you manage those 10 companies and let those 10 companies manage the other 500 people that has to get in those trucks.
Yes.
Okay. That was taught to me by Ford Motor Company, where
Wow.
you have a commodity supply chain manager. And so you don't have to try to do everything. You cannot scale trying to do it all. You don't have the money.
Here's what's so amazing. When you started this, you knew nothing about petroleum. You looked for an opportunity. You said, I will, the old saying, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And so you were one of the people who said, God got his hand on me. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to become wealthy. Bottom line, I'm going to become wealthy. And I'm looking for the opportunities. And when you saw the opportunity, you took advantage of it and you moved on it. So this is,
well, let me add
we're going to take a quick break. Quick hope. Before we go, I got a quick break. And we're going to come right back. And then we're going to go into this more in depth. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show. And for sure, you're going to want to stay around after this break for station identification. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I got an email from a gentleman in Australia who shared how he had been struggling in his business, and he bought some of my books and audios, and how it had a profound impact on his business, and he went from worst to first in his company. I shared with him how much I appreciated his note, but I told him those books, those audios, those videos were not just something that I just thought up one day and started to write. They were born out of my experiences, out of the challenges of overcoming the problems and the difficulties and how I was able to do it. And I shared with him that others have sent similar messages and that these resources work. I want to encourage you and invite you to go to my store. Go to wjspeaks.com/shop. wjspeaks.com/shop. Get some of the books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Or a setback is a setup for a comeback. Or turn setbacks into greenbacks. Or chicken soup for the soul. Or an attitude of excellence. Or the book I wrote with my wife after 34 years of being married and not having an argument in over 30 years. We wrote a book called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And now it is saving marriages all over the globe. Go to the store. Get some of the audios, the videos, the books, the resources to help you have greater personal and professional success. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Make this a great day on purpose. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show with my special guest, Stephen Hightower, who built a fueling company from zero and is now doing billions. And it's not just in America. Not just in Ohio where he lives, not just in America. He's over to Nigeria and all over the world doing these deals. Okay, Brother Hightower, you're getting ready to share some more insights. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, one of the things that when you're growing a business and you're doing, like I said, I was quoting pinto beans, chairs, furniture, posts.
Stop right there. Stop right there. I got to read this quote. And I'm going to let you go. He says, in page number 152, and then you can take from this. As I mentioned, I have sold everything from pinto beans to light bulbs to medical supplies. And the naysayers criticized me for expanding and do too much at once. But they didn't know I had 4 children at home and I had to pay the bills. Okay, go ahead now. I had to put that thing was so good. I had to mock it up.
But what I knew I had in this petroleum, it was like having a boat being in the ocean. And all this money's around you. The ocean is full of money and you just want that money to get into that little boat. And I knew that I had something. And so I eventually began to drop a lot of the other things that were not quite as profitable and start focusing in on the fuel. And BP, 4 years later, when the bid came out again, said, invited 4 black companies up to Cleveland and said that we're going to support one of you for your PUCO hauling authority. And I was already kind of in the game. I had already had the conversation, knew how to sell. And so they selected me to be that company that they supported. And the way they supported it was they gave me 5 boron blue tractor trailers, fuel trucks. And they gave me my PUCO hauling authority for property that allowed me to sell jet fuel for them and carry jet fuel to their facilities. And so that's how I then changed the name from Landmark Supply Company to Hightowers Petroleum Company in 1984. Okay. And that was the beginning of that path of narrowing down all the various things that I was doing to concentrating more and more in the petroleum, start selling in highway contractors, doing the casino river boats that was coming up the Ohio River, that was actually floating. Those were the little nuggets that gave me my first opportunity, so that when I showed up at the conferences, I actually was already doing the business. And that became, my credential to say that I was actually in the business. But you're not in the business until the industry recognizes you to be in the business.
Right.
And the only way they can recognize you to be in the business is that you show up to those conferences. Okay, you learn what they're learning. You get those relationships within those organizations. And just like the Congressional Black Caucus, it's called exponential marketing strategy.
Say that again. Hold. Say that. Say that. That's powerful. Say that again.
It's called exponential marketing strategy, where you take from this conference, whether this conference might be a political, this conference might be your customers, this conference might be your suppliers. But in each of those conferences, you're there 3-4 times a year, year in and year out, till you become a fabric of those particular conferences. And even if you're not in a room, somebody's going to call your name and say, if they're talking about petroleum, they're going to call Hightower. And that's because now you've got other people within these organizations selling you. Okay, you can only do so much, but if you've got the relationship, like you said, you met me at the Congressional Black Caucus, and you saw me there time and time again, and that's what you call exponential marketing. People want to show up one time and say, I didn't get nothing, or they want to say that ain't for me because they showed up twice and 3 times. But if you show up year after year after year, I showed up when they didn't even want to talk to me.
Right.
Okay. And I actually had built the relationship before they actually were in a position to buy something for me.
Right.
So, this whole game, if you're a white company, you get your business with your friends and your family and your organization, whether that's a country club, all of those are networking opportunities where relationships are built. And people begin to know you, they begin to like you, and then you've got something to provide to them. You've got opportunity, but you need all of that. Okay, you just don't show up and say you're gonna buy it because it's me.
Exponential marketing strategy, folks. I hope y'all got to. Anybody can do this. It's about relationship building, showing up and being there and developing that relationship and getting trust. So again, as I said, I met him years ago, and every year when I would go to Black Caucus just to come and visit and do some networking, I'd see Stephen Hightower and we'd chat. He'd give me his card. I remember, Ohio Petroleum. Well, when I saw LinkedIn, now again, he took another step. He used social media. He used the internet. LinkedIn, he was promoting a book. I said, I got to reach out to him. I called his office. His assistant said, oh, we know your show. We know who you are. I'm going to get, he's in a meeting, but I'm pulling him out. And she got him on the phone and we talked. I said, I want to help you sell this book. It sounds incredible. And let me tell you, folks, it is incredible. Brother Hightower, before we go any further, where can people get this book? Name the book, say the book, and where they can get it.
Fueling from 0 to a billion on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, but Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Are the 2 areas that you can actually order the book today.
And now one more thing. He's giving speeches. I one of the things I saw on LinkedIn was him giving a dynamite speech. And so I know you don't do that full time, but if people would like to reach you to say, I want to have him for an event or learn from him, where can people reach you? Is there a website or somewhere that people can learn about you and learn more about your capacities?
Well, from a website standpoint, www.hightowers.petroleum.com, and that's Hightowers with an S, petroleum.com, is really
that's it.
Whole portfolio.
Okay.
That's
Hightowers with the S, petroleum.com. Go and just check it out. And if you want him to come speak for one of your events or come to a big rally or something with business people, you can work out how to get on his schedule because he busy.
Yeah.
He busy.
Yeah.
Look here, this brother busy. In the book, he got pictures of him with all of the big congressional folks and the presidents and so forth. But then he's overseas in Nigeria with the presidents of these African nations who are looking at how they can do business with him. And he started. Now, one more thing. He started with nothing. And I love in the book how he says, many people are counting their dollars to grow their billions. He said, I count my pennies because the petroleum business is a business where you're getting pennies on the dollar. Am I right, Brother Hightower?
That's correct. Unless you get into the big boy game.
There you go. Initially, well, you're now in the big boy game, but initially you were counting pennies, but now you can count some dollars. And
Okay,
I love one more thing, the importance of knowing your numbers. Talk about that. The importance of knowing your numbers.
Well, it's very difficult to say you want to do $1 million and you're cutting hair every day and making $40, $50 a head at 8 heads a day times, 365 days, you're still not going to get to $1 million. Right. So the commodity that you are wanting to get to that type of goal, you got to be able to count those units and how many units it will take at what dollar amount to get to $1 million or then to $1 billion.
Right.
And it's a step at a time, but you can't get to $1 billion cutting hair. Right. And you might get to $1 billion if you don't put 100, 200 different hairstyling salons around the country. And now you've got a McDonald's, i.e. of hair salons, then you can get to $1 billion, but you can't do it cutting one head at a time.
Right.
So, that's the baseline as to whether or not you're doing a product or on a B2B or product on a B2C.
Yes.
Okay. Business to consumer versus business to business. And what I tell everybody, when you're looking for a commodity or something to sell, you want something that you can have a vast amount of customers, but you also want a product where somebody need to have, not a product that somebody want to have.
Right.
Okay. Because a product somebody have to have, then they're going to get it tomorrow and they're going to get it next day. And I use toilet paper as one of those. You
use toilet paper. Okay? I love that.
You go buy toilet paper tomorrow, the next day, and I don't care if you're industrial, commercial, government, or residential, you're going to buy toilet paper. Well, petroleum is one of those commodities.
Right.
If you buy it, you're going to buy it tomorrow. You're going to buy it the next day, the day after that. But let's say I got a store on the corner. And it could be a furniture store. It could be a clothing store. It could be a wine and beer store. I may not want to come to your store. I may not even want to come to your neighborhood. Okay. There's a whole lot of reasons why, from a consumer, I may want to go over there than over here to you.
Right.
But from a fueling standpoint or toilet paper, you're going to buy that regardless.
Yes.
There's no option that, we don't need that this week or this month or this year. We'll do that next year. No, you're going to need it tomorrow and the next day. So find a product, and in every product or everything that you see has something in it that they got to have in order to make that product. Find out what that is, okay? And that is what you want to sell to that manufacturer, to that company, because they'll continue to buy it day in and day out. And that's how I built Hightowers, because I kept what I got and continue to build, keeping what you got and continuing to build. And I never stopped building. And like you say, today I'm global. I got an office in Lagos, Nigeria, in South Africa, in Rome, Italy, and we're selling product into Europe. And you're just doing that because you got to know that it's possible. And when I looked at, the Bill Verities who started Armco Steel and the Rockefellers who started the Standard Oil Company, and so on and so on. They started with one. Right. Many of these guys started in a basement, in a garage, and grew up to be billions and billions of dollars. Now, they may have had some advantages of people throwing money at them, but they did it.
Yes.
And so it's possible.
Yes.
And when you know something is possible, then you go after it.
Yes.
But if you ain't trying to go after it and even think that it's possible, you won't do anything and you'll never get anywhere. Right. So just like you're national, you're international, you're global because you wanted to go global. Right. You wanted to be international. And the energy that it took for you to get there day in and day out. Nobody knows about those days when it was hard.
Right.
You was trying to
we tried to pay the phone bill, keep the lights on, go down to the the light company and say, "Could you let me have a little more light?" We're gonna be right back.
Just showed up today, man.
We're gonna take a quick break. We got Stephen Hightower. I love his energy, his mindset. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show, and for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Motivated, highly motivated, wanna take it to the top. Motivated, highly motivated, I'm never gonna stop. I had a job I really hated. It made me sick, but it got me motivated. I knew that this was not where I was meant to be. I didn't want to stay, but I was too afraid to leave. Then one day I got my check, there was almost nothing there. I went to the boss, he laughed and said he didn't care. My kids were at home hungry, I was about to lose my home. That's when I decided I had to make it on my own. Said I, gonna take it to the top. I said I'm never gonna stop. My friends said I was crazy when I told them all goodbye. But the only one who's crazy is the one who's afraid to try. They said I'd never make it, said I would not survive. But I knew I had to make it. It was either do or die.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friend said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show and Podcast with my special guest, the author of the book, Fueling Fueling from 0 to 1 billion. Stephen Hightower. Hightowers with the S Petroleum. You can look him up online. One thing I wanted to delve in a little bit, because he said something profound. You know your numbers. You got to count the numbers, the quantity versus the amount you are charging. What can it get you to? You say $1 million, but you can't do that if the numbers don't make up. But you can become wealthy, and that's one thing I want everybody to know. You might have a barbershop or a beauty shop or a small mom and pop shop, and you might not get to that $1 million with just day in and day out. But if you're disciplined, he talks about discipline in this book. He talks about discipline. If you're disciplined and you take a portion of that money, or my formula is you give a dime of every dollar, you tithe it, because you gotta plant the seed. Then you save a dime, you invest a dime, and then you live on 70% of what you bring in. If you save and invest, you can become wealthy, but you got to be disciplined. My new book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. I want you to go to richisgood.wealthyisbetter.com. Rich is good, wealthyisbetter.com. Pre-order the book, because it talks about how you create wealth with day-by-day discipline. Okay, you mentioned work ethic earlier, but you also talk about in the book making the decision that if you want to be an A person, you got to have integrity and character and excellence. You can't hang around with a lot of C people, because C people want to be C people, but you got to make a decision. Let's talk about that for a moment, please.
Well, it's very important that people see you for who you are, not who they want you to be. And it's just like if I go to a board meeting with other CEOs, I'm going to wear a suit, tie. I'm going to be a president. I'm going to have a presidential uniform on. I'm not going to go in there with a pullover and just, show up in, a pair of slacks. I've always been that kind of person who really wanted to make sure that not only did I learn integrity. See, it takes a lifetime to become an integrity person. It takes 10 seconds to lose it.
Oops! Stop! Like say it again, brother Hightower. Repeat that one more time. Come on.
It's a lifetime building to become a person of integrity, and 10 seconds to tear it down.
Come on.
And so if you don't do anything else, do what you say you're going to do, deliver when you say you're going to deliver, show up when you say you're going to show up. All of those things are the things that when people say, well, what did Steve do different? I didn't do nothing different than anybody else. I just did those things repeatedly over a period of time. And when I had the option to be in the streets and, do all the crazy things that people around me was doing, I chose not to.
Right.
And you got to make those decisions. And when you can make those decisions, or you can just go along because that's what it needs, or what is required to go along with the friends that you're around. But you may need to change those friends that you're around to get into a whole nother mindset in order to go to the moon. When you're talking about going to $1 billion, it's like going to the moon. It's like rocket jets. You got to have energy. You got to have focus. If you ain't got God in it,
you got to have God. Come on, somebody.
You ain't got God in it, it ain't going nowhere. And if you ain't got God in it, you could be anywhere doing anything for nothing.
Right.
Okay.
You gotta have God,
that's
folks.
Where you want to be.
We are talking, and these just two businessmen here who are talking on the radio, and we talking about the things we know have worked for us. God works for me. It works, and I trust him. And that's a maturity thing. And so I'm glad he talks about it and his faith in it. And he talks about business and faith and action and discipline and integrity. He talks about how important it is to think big, even when you're small. I want to get this question in because I don't want to run out of time, because I know you got good answers to this. Whenever I have a guest, I ask them the same question. If you were coming to DC to one of the events or speaking or something, and we went and had lunch, and then we went over to Howard University and went to a business class, I want you to tell some you gotta. If you're going to be successful in business and life, here's some you gotta. You got to do these things.
You hit on a little bit of it, because failure is not failure, but a learning experience.
Yes.
Failure is not failure, but a way to practice my techniques and to perfect my performance.
Come on.
And failure is not failure, but a game that I must play to win. Because you see, you're not judged by the number of times that you fail. Right. You're judged by the number of times that you succeed.
Right.
And the number of times that you succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times that you can fail and keep on trying.
Yes.
Understand that it's okay to go in a restroom stall and pray to God before you go into that meeting and have that interview or that sales call, because you got to bring something into that room that they don't expect.
Right.
And that's typically bigger than anybody, including yourself. And that's that prayer of God and the power of God in you. Taking that chance, stepping out, okay? Being willing to fail to succeed, right, is what we have to do.
Yes.
And that's okay.
I got so many notes in here, how you had to pivot and how you had to look for opportunity. And you're pivoting now from petroleum to EVs and to new kinds of energy.
You do not want to wait and be the last horse and buggy when change is coming. You got to embrace change. All right. Don't leave what you got. Also, don't just stay and be that last horse and buggy on the street. Get in front of that hockey puck. Okay. Don't wait until it's all out the gate and now you're going to jump into it, because at that point in time, it's probably too late. So we gotta learn that we're interconnected and that we have to open our minds beyond what's in front of us, but actually go, because I don't think nobody's coming to Middletown, to give me no contract. I got to get up and go around the world to get what I got to get. That's okay.
I love that. Look, folks, in page 56, he says, it's not a time to give up when things get tight. It's a time to step up. Tell me, last point about this, how you had to step up when things got tight, when money got tight, when assets got tight, how you kept stepping up.
It's faith. You got to be able to say to yourself, I am the voice and I must lead, not follow.
Yes.
I must believe and not doubt.
Yes.
And I must create and not destroy.
Yes.
I am a voice for God. I am a leader. And defy the odds and set new standards. And step up, step up, step up.
Whoo, what a way. What a way. My God, this is good. Man, I love you, Steve Hightower. This stuff is good. This stuff is good. Folks, I want you to go get this book. It's called Fueling, Fueling, From Zero to 1 Billion by Stephen Hightower. This guy is the real deal. You hear me? He's the real deal. And he tells you in his book, step by step, without bank funding, with how to think and work. It's something my dear friend, the late great Dr. Bill Picard said, and this Stephen Hightower is a great example of it. Dr. Picard said here on this show, he said, there's talent and there's hustle. And every day, hustle will beat talent when talent does not hustle. Come on, somebody. Right. And that's what Steve Hightower teaches you in this book, how to hustle, how to think creatively, and how to make it happen. Thank you, Stephen Hightower, for being my guest today, brother. This was an incredible show, and I thank you for this great book, and I hope everybody goes to get it.
I'd like to thank you for the opportunity, and I do speaking engagement.
Hey, look, folks, go check him out. He's good. I mean, he's really good, and bring him in to speak for your event, for your company, or just to rally up your folks, because he is really good. I want to thank all my friends at Truist. Truist has made a commitment to continue to help people to grow. They have a program on their website called Money and Mindset. I want you to go to truist.com, look up Money and Mindset. It's focused as a free program to help people develop their mindset about their money. It's incredible in the offers and opportunities that will be available to you just to get information. You got to have information to grow your wealth. You got to have information to grow your health. You got to have information. So Money and Mindset. Go to Truist, Truist.com. Check out Money and Mindset, and you will be inspired to grow your business. And then I want to encourage everybody to go to winwithwillie.com, get access to all my sites, sign up for my newsletter. Every week I send out these great interviews. The points I learned. Go to winwithwillie.com, sign up for the newsletter, and then join us every Monday night for the Jolly Marriage Show. So go to A Jolly Marriage on Facebook, A Jolly Marriage on Instagram, or Willie Jolley LinkedIn Live Monday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, where we talk about how to stay married, how to grow your marriage, how to enhance your marriage, and if you got issues, how to try and fix them. Because we know we wrote a book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. That's now a marriage bestseller, because we wanted just to help 1 million marriages to be enhanced and help 1 million marriages that were in trouble. So do that today, jollymarriage.com or ajollymarriage.com, and get the book and then share it with your friends and family. This has been a great day, a great interview with my friend, Stephen Hightower. He is exceptional, and I'm glad he was able to be on with us. And I look to see all of you next week. And for sure, your best is still yet to come. God bless you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I hope you got something of great value. And I hope that you were inspired, you were motivated, you were empowered, and you were encouraged to live your best life. I hope this information and this inspiration will help you to do more, be more, and to achieve more. That's the goal why I started this program, and I hope it helped you in a mighty way. Now, I ask you to make sure and that you take full advantage of all the resources that came through this program. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/gift and get some of the free resources that we have there for you. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/shop to get some of the books that we have created, that we've labored over to make sure that they will deliver a powerful message to you. I hope you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, williejolly.com/billionaire, or wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get the box that it will inspire your whole family, or get the bag of books. Make this a great day, a great week, a great month. And remember, it is true that you are blessed and all things are possible for them that believe. So make the most of the belief that you have now in your future. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time, 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.